Hello everyone, it's Lindsay and I am back with another entry using the July Faith Art Box from Creative Retreat Kits. And today I am playing with the printables for this month. So if you didn't know this, Creative Retreat now has printables available with their monthly kits. And to get these, you need to be a part of the Insiders Facebook group. I will link that down below and you can get a free printable that matches the monthly kit. So I went ahead and printed mine out on white cardstock and then used my Silhouette machine to cut it out. And I thought I would take an opportunity to show you how to deal with some bleed through. So this is the backside of the entry that I did earlier this month. And I'm going to create a little tip down, tip up, tip in, a flap with some different patterned papers. And so this is going to cover up that bleed through that happened, but I will also be able to flip this down and add some kind of semi-private, not really private, but just give me some space to add some prayer journaling underneath here. So I've pulled out some papers from my stash. I believe these are from the Fruit of the Spirit collection by Illustrative Faith, and I mean, it just really coordinated well with this month's kit since it's all about fruits of the spirit, and there's colors that match well between these. So I'm also going to bring in that patterned cardstock that's on the back of this month's devotional and use that as some layering elements also. So I'm just going to kind of piece these together. It does not completely cover up the bleed through, but that's okay. It's enough to where it's not so distracting when you flip to this page. Now, what I'm doing, but you can't hardly see because I'm out of camera range, which seems to be kind of my MO this month, is I'm using a distress tool by Tonic Studios and just kind of roughening up the edges of the paper just to give it some texture. Now, I am journaling the verse Galatians 6:1, which is actually on the opposite side of this page, which is already the journaled page that I did for the last entry earlier this month. And so that is fine. I'm just going to come on over to this page and I will reference the verse over here and it'll all be fine. But what I did is I kind of looked at the devotional content and looked at the fruits of the Spirit and kind of sat down and thought to myself, okay, which one of these do I need the most work on, or what is God putting on my heart when it comes to these different fruits of the Spirit, and where am I lacking in my own heart? And I came upon gentleness, and the verse is Galatians 6:1. So let me go ahead and read that to you. It says, "Brothers, if anyone is caught in any transgression, you who are spiritual should restore him in a spirit of gentleness." Now, what Paul is referring to here is believers to other believers. And if you come upon another believer who is sinning or is just kind of losing their way, then you have a responsibility as a fellow Christian to come alongside them and help guide them back into rightness with God in a spirit of gentleness. So not bashing them over the head, not in anger, not in, oh, I'm better than you kind of attitude, but in gentleness. Now, when I was looking at this and when I was thinking about this, it wasn't necessarily about me and other believers, because I usually have a pretty good spirit of gentleness with other believers, even though I have quite a few right now in my church that are just not nice to me. I have really tried to have a gentle spirit with them. But I was more thinking about parenting and how I parent my kids, and I do not have a spirit of gentleness. Now, I do believe that you need to have some firm discipline, and that was what I was raised under. And so I do think there is a time for sternness and discipline and things like that. But I'm Italian. I get a little spicy sometimes, and I don't always correct my kids with a spirit of gentleness. It's usually a making them feel like crap, itty bitty, you are being horrible right now kind of attitude. And that's not the best attitude for them to learn from, and they're not going to respond well to. And so I really want to try to correct this in my own heart and just kind of lead them in a way that I want them to then grow up and lead others. I want to be that example for them. And so that's what I kind of journaled here. I journaled a short little prayer and just asking God to help me foster that spirit of gentleness as I parent and as I lead my kids. And so it wasn't necessarily what this verse is addressing, but for me it was just a time to journal a prayer and just kind of reflect on that spirit of gentleness. So on screen here, This is actually a stencil from Creative Retreat Kits. It's from a kit last year, but these stencils are still available, and so you can find those over in the shop. And I decided this would be a great opportunity to pull it out, and before I attach that little cluster of papers down, I'm going to add some color and texture to the background. So I'm using some Distress Oxide ink in Picked Raspberry, which really matches that bright pink color that's in the papers, and I'm just kind of sponging it through the stencil in some areas. Now, because I'm dealing with that back page is already journaled, I want to be careful about what I use on this page so that it doesn't then bleed through on the page already finished and ruin that side. So I'm trying to stick with mediums that don't bleed through. So the Distress Oxide ink, as long as you go in with it pretty light-handed and dry, it doesn't bleed through this way. And then now I'm going in with the stamp set from last month's kit and using this texture and stamping it with some cobalt green brush marker. And this again does not bleed through as long as I'm not, pretty careful about how much ink I get on the stamp. It is fine. So this just adds some interest to the background, adds some color, pulls things together, but then I don't have to worry about things bleeding through to the page that's already done. And now you can kind of see how that's all pulling together. Now, this little cluster of fruits and things was just cute and fun. This is a fun way to use some of those larger printable elements. If you're concerned about covering up text, you can do something like this. So by creating this tip-in, none of the text is covered up. I can still read all of the text underneath this. And then now I have a little spot where I can either journal on the back of the actual little cluster itself, or I'm going to actually do my journaling on the Bible page itself. But you can see I created that little tip-in. You can see I have some shadowing from my stamping and my inks now on the other page, but it's not too bad. It's fine. So I decided to go ahead and flip through all of my alpha stickers, and I wanted to incorporate several different ones, but this one I really wanted to use because the color matched. I didn't have enough letters left, so I'm just going to go with what I got and spell out "Grow in me a spirit of gentleness." And so I'm just trying to use up some of those cardstock stickers from the kit this month. And then here you can see this is from August of 2017, I believe. That letter A really went well with these green stickers from this month. So I stick everything down up here and then decide I don't like it that far up, and so then I scoot everything down. It left some stickiness, and I had some issues with it pulling up some paper and things like that, but it's fine. It is what it is. It's messy. I was just trying to show you that it is possible to deal with bleed through. I know a lot of people go into this saying that they want to avoid bleed through. They hate bleed through. Oh my gosh, my Bible's ruined because I have bleed through, and it's not. This is why I don't worry about bleed through, because I can come back in and do something like this. The bleed through for the most part is covered up. I have a fun, vibrant, pretty entry, and that bleed through was not the end of the world. And so I was able to freely stamp and have fun on the back of this page and then easily deal with the bleed through for this entry. So don't let bleed through stop you from enjoying Bible journaling and just going with it. I think page prep is great if that's something that you want to do, but I don't like to fuss with page prep. I don't like how it reacts with some of my products, and so I would just rather not worry about it and do things like this to cover up the bleed through. So I did go ahead and use that little tag or flag sticker to indicate that the verse is Galatians 6:1. That way when I come back to this page, I'll know that what verse I was thinking about as I was journaling this, since it's not actually on this page. And then I use my We Are Memory Keepers tab punch to punch a tab out of that devotional backer. And there's still plenty of cardstock left on there that I could get even another entry out of that cardstock backer. And so now it's just all the finishing details. So adding some stickers anywhere where there's stickiness exposed. I can use my EK Success powder tool to remove any stickiness. And I'm going to sprinkle in some of these wonky hearts. And I used so many stickers this month with the kit, and I probably could still get an entire entry out of the stickers and things I have left. So there is plenty of goodies that come in these kits. This month we also got these enamel stickers, and so I'm going to sprinkle a few of these around just to kind of even out and pull in some colors that maybe I didn't have enough of, and just add some fun details at this point. So I'm going to fill in kind of this blank area that's up here in the top right hand corner. And that is really it for the entries. So if you have any questions or comments, be sure to leave those down below. You can check out the description box. I'll have links to all the products mentioned and used in the video today. Also be sure to check out the blog post and see what the other gals on the design team are doing with the kit this month. It is so amazing to see everybody's different styles and techniques and things like that. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. Be sure to hit that bell button so that you don't miss any future videos. And until next time, thank you so much. Bye-bye.